student, I present to your attention the lecture topic Economics of Enterprise and its Management. The first question, the concept of economic of enterprise, its essence. The second, main task and function of the enterprise. And next, internal and external environment of the organization. Enterprise, maybe. Economics in the science of how society uses certain limited resources to produce useful products, work, services, and distribute them among different groups of people. The main economic problem is to meet unlimited needs in condition of limited resources, which is usually solved within a single organization. An organization is the public of individual or states. The second, a state institution or enterprise. An enterprise is a manufacturing or trading business unit or an association of several such units. An enterprise is an economic entity with the rights of legal entity that produces and sells products, provides service, and has the right to engage in any economic activity within the framework of the law in accordance with the company's charter. Describing the enterprise should determine its most important features as a basic element of market relation, which include production and technical unity, suggesting the commonality of production process, capital, and technology, organizational unity, manifested in the consideration of the enterprise as an organized team with its own internal structure and management of economic unity expressed in common material, technical, financial resources and economic result of the enterprise. Significant features are also a single territory, auxiliary and service farms, and so on. Regardless of the form of ownership, the enterprise separation on the terms of commercial settlement, it carries out transaction, operation, makes profit and bear losses. At the expense of profit, it provides a stable financial position, elements the socio-economic interest of the labor collective. This is what makes it possible to define an enterprise as an economic unit that has economic, organizational, and legal independence and perform specific function. Creating products or performing works, providing services that are demand on the market. Solving social problem and of enterprise team and society. A firm is an industrial, economic, or commercial enterprise or an organization. First of all, business entities differ in their fields of activity. There are enterprises separating in the sphere of material and non-material production. Business entities in the sphere of material production are enterprise of industry, agricultural, transport, and construction. A distinctive feature of business entities in the sphere of intangible production is that they create special products and services. Household, maybe social, cultural. By industry, business entities are divided into industrial enterprise, chemical, textile, agricultural, etc. According to their economic purpose, they are divided into enterprise that produce means of production and produce consumer goods. According to the nature of the impact on the objects of labor, business entities are divided into mining and processing. According to the number of types of products produced, there are specialized enterprises that produce a limited number of goods. The economy of an organization is enterprise is a complex of knowledge about the means, laws, and rules of management. Therefore, the study of the organization enterprise is necessary to analyze current states of its affairs, predict behavior of the organization in a changing market environment, develop recommendation to the organized in order to the organization enterprise in order to make optimal decision, determine the best way to use the organization enterprise limited resources. The economy of an organization enterprise is a set factor of production, material, labor, financial, non-production factors, and other elements of the mechanism of industrial relation that arise within a separate organization in the process obtaining and selling products, work, services with limited resources. Depending on the size, the economic entities are divided into large, medium, small, and enterprise monopolies. The size of an enterprise is determined by the number of employees employed in it. Large enterprises have a number of advantages. The large scale of production makes it possible to take full advantages of the advantages of separate labor within the enterprise and provides an increase in labor productivity. Large enterprise can buy resources in volumes that provide wholesale discounts on goods. Differentiation of consumer demand in the context of growing incomes of the population and the growth of the service sector. The advantages of small business are flexibility, high adaptive capacity to changes in market condition. It quickly reflects changes in consumer demand and significantly facilitates the territorial and sectoral flow of labor and capital. The large number of small firms creates opportunities for broad development of competition. Small business create healthy competition in the market of goods and services, which generally has positive impact on the economic and social situation in the country. Within the framework of variety of types, property business entities of different organizational and large firms can be created. The most significant features then distinguish on organizational and legal form. Another are number of participants in the business association, form of reduction by small entities, method of distribution of profits and losses, production cooperative, state enterprise, business partnership. Business partnership, business is an organization with the authorities' capital divided into deposits of the founders, property created at the expense of the contribution of the founders, as well as produced and invented by an economic partnership in the course of its activities belongs to the partnership on the right ownership. Business partnerships are currently created in the form of full limited partnership. Full partnership, a partnership whose members, if the property of the full partnership is insufficient, are jointly and severally liable for its obligation with all their property. Limited partnership, liability partnership, a partnership established by one or more persons, the authorized capital of which is divided into shares of the amounts determined by the constitute documents. Participants in a limited liability partnership are liable for its obligation and be the risk of losses related to the partnership's activity within the value of the contribution. The number of participants in the partnership must not exceed 50. It may not have as its sole participant another partnership consisting of one person. And a joint stock company is a legal entity that issues shares for the purpose of raising funds to carry out its activity. The company shareholders are not liable for its obligation and bear the take risk of losses related to its activities within the value of their shares. A joint stock company can be open closed or open public company, and state enterprise and non-profit enterprise. The internal environment of the organization, people, capital, goods, information, and finance. The result of the interaction of the internal environments is the finished products, work, services. The basis of the company is made up of people. The result of the company's work depends on their efforts and skills. To make products, they need means of production. For payment for the supply of necessary materials, equipment, energy resources, for the payment of wages to employees and other payments, the company needs financial resources that accumulate on its current account in the bank and partially in the company cash register. In the absence of sufficient amount of its own funds, the company is forced to use borrowed funds in the form of loans. Commercial, technical, and operation information is of great importance for the company's work. Commercial information answers the following question: how, what product, and in what quantity should be manufactured at the what price, and to whom to sell them, and what expenses will be required for their production. Technical information provides a comprehensive description of their products, describes the technology of its manufacture, determines what items of labor are necessary for its manufacture, with what means of labor and techniques, and on the basis of operational information task assigned to personnel, their placement in jobs is carry out, control, accounting, and regulation of the production process is carried out, as well as adjustment of management and commercial operation. The production management process that is underway. The result of the company's activities are largely determined by its external environment. Therefore, knowledge of its environment and the ability to respond to its changes and impacts of the internal structure of the enterprise are necessary. The enterprise itself as an open system depends on the external environment for the supply of resources, energy, personnel, and consumer. Therefore, business have to adapt to this environment in order to survive and remain competitive. The external environment directly determines the efficiency and expediency of the company's work. It is primarily consumer of products, suppliers of production components, as well as the state. In the external environment, competitors are also active, ready at any time to fully or partially take the place the company in the market. The main factors of its external environment of the company factor of direct influence, the indirect factor. The main characteristic of external are interrelated factor, complexity, mobility. In this regard, managers are not able to consider external factors in isolation. The interconnectedness of environmental factor is the level of force with which change is one factor affects other environmental factor, and they directly influence the decision making of the enterprise in the sphere of economic activity. The state acts as regulating, protecting, and guiding link for the enterprise. This role can take various forms of tax incentives, subsidies, legal control in an unregulated market, interest rates, and so on. Factors of indirect influence include the state of economy, technical factor and technology, social factors and political factor. It's difficult and time consuming to describe, characterize and predict the effects of indirect factors on an enterprise. Such factors are almost impossible to describe in a formalized way, and a large amount of information is required, which often doesn't have quantitative and unambiguous interpretation when making decisions. The demographic environment and natural and climatic conditions, factors in which the company operates, must also be taken into account. We are talking about the composition and structure of the population, the availability of raw materials and energy resources, water, the availability and condition of transport arteries, and climatic condition. These factors have a direct impact on the location of enterprise and on the cost of delivery of raw material and components, the distribution of products and the price of labor, and the demand for goods and services. Thank you for your time.